Alex Eala is going to be a top 10 player in the world. That is not a prediction from a fan account. That is not a headline written for clicks. Those are the exact words of a former world number 4 and two-time Grand Slam finalist, said directly to her face, just moments before the toughest match of her season. Kei Nishikori sat down for an interview at the Mubadala DC Open, and when he was asked about Alex Eala, he didn't hesitate. He said he believes, without a shadow of a doubt, that she will be a top 10 player. His only condition? That she stays healthy, physically, and mentally. That's it. That's the only thing standing between Alex Eala and the top 10, according to a man who has actually lived at that level of the sport. And he wasn't the only one. Minutes later, in that same round of interviews, Naomi Osaka, a 4-time Grand Slam champion, was asked the exact same question. Her answer was just as direct. She called Alex Eala a star. She said Eala has so many weapons. And then she said something smaller, but almost more telling. She said she loves listening to Alex Eala speak. Think about that phrasing for a second. Not she's good, not she's talented. Osaka is describing presence. The kind of thing you can't coach and can't fake. So now you have two Grand Slam champions on the same day independently describing Alex Eala in a way that sounds less like scouting talk and more like they're already talking about a future they can see coming. When Alex Eala was asked to react to both of those comments, she didn't get flustered. She didn't downplay it either. She called it super flattering. Coming from two players she said she genuinely looks up to. She said she used to watch Nishikori a lot when she was younger. And she talked about watching Naomi Osaka's rise, not just through her 4 Grand Slam titles, but everything she's built around them, from fashion to being a mother. That answer tells you something important. This isn't a young player overwhelmed by the compliments of legends. This is a player who has clearly been paying attention to how the best in the world carry themselves, long before she was ever in the same conversation as them. But here's the part that actually matters most right now. None of that praise means anything if she doesn't back it up today. Because Alex Eala isn't just arriving in Washington to collect compliments. She's arriving to play the single hardest first-round match she could possibly have been given. Her opponent is Zheng Qinwen, and if that name doesn't mean much to casual fans yet, here's what you need to know. Zheng Qinwen is a former world number 4, a 2-time Australian Open finalist, and the reigning Olympic gold medalist in women's singles tennis. On paper, this looks like a mismatch in Eala's favor. Zheng comes into this tournament ranked 123rd in the world, nearly 100 spots below Eala's career-high ranking of 28. But that ranking is deceiving, and everyone inside the sport knows it. Zheng's ranking collapsed because of a serious injury that sidelined her for nearly a year, not because her level dropped. This is not a first-round formality. This is a rebuilding former top 5 player who is still capable of ending anyone's tournament in straight sets if her serve and forehand click into rhythm. And there's history here too. The only other time these two players ever faced each other was at the 2023 Asian Games. Zheng won that match in 3 tight sets, sending Eala home with the bronze medal instead of the gold. So this isn't just a first-round match. For Alex Eala, this is unfinished business. When she was asked directly about facing Zheng again, her answer wasn't overconfident, and it wasn't nervous either. It was focused. She said she's excited, but she knows it's going to be a really tough match. She said she needs to bring intensity and a level of competition that matches the stakes of this tournament. That's the mindset of a player who understands exactly what's in front of her. Now here's something else worth addressing directly, because there's been some confusion around it. Alex Eala pulled out of the doubles event at this tournament, where she was originally scheduled to team up again with Venus Williams. Some fans saw that news and assumed something negative, an injury, a conflict, a problem behind the scenes. That's not what happened. When Alex was asked about it directly, her answer was simple, and honestly, it says a lot about her discipline. She said she's endlessly grateful for every chance she gets to play with Venus and learn from her. But she said Venus deserves a partner who can give everything, physically, mentally, and in every other way. And since this is her first tournament back after a long break, she knew she couldn't do that fully for both singles and doubles at the same time. So she made the harder, more disciplined choice. She chose to protect her focus for the tournament that actually shapes her season, instead of stretching herself across 2 draws just to keep a good storyline going. That's not the decision of a player chasing headlines. That's the decision of a player thinking about the next 4 tournaments, not just the next 4 days. Because Washington isn't a standalone event for Alex Eala. It's the very first step of a brutal stretch that leads all the way to the US Open. After this, she heads to the National Bank Open in Toronto, where she already has a first-round bye locked in. From there, she goes straight into the Cincinnati Open. And then, the destination this entire swing has been building toward: New York, the US Open. Every match from here forward is either building momentum toward that stage or threatening to stall it before it even begins. And that's exactly why today's match carries so much weight. If Alex Eala beats Zheng Qinwen, she doesn't just get a signature win against a former top 5 Olympic gold medalist. She potentially sets up a second-round meeting with the defending Washington champion. Another brutal test, immediately following this one. There is no easy path through this draw, not in the first round, not in the second. And in a strange way, that might be exactly the environment that suits her. Because we've already seen what Alex Eala does when the stakes get higher instead of lower. At Wimbledon, she didn't shrink from the pressure of playing a defending champion on center court. She played some of the best tennis of her career in that exact moment. When her run at Wimbledon eventually ended in a tight 3-set loss in the round of 16, she didn't spiral either. She said something in that press conference that tennis media hasn't stopped talking about since. She said everyone has days where they don't play their best tennis, and that she doesn't expect to play the best tennis of her life every single day. That's not the mindset of someone who gets rattled by big losses. That's the mindset of someone who has already made peace with the fact that this journey isn't going to be a straight line upward. It's going to have setbacks, and she's decided in advance that those setbacks won't define her. So here's where all of this actually connects. Nishikori says top 10 is coming, as long as she stays healthy, physically and mentally. Osaka says she's already a star with real weapons. And Alex Eala, when asked directly, doesn't inflate any of it. She stays grounded, respectful, and focused on the very next match in front of her. That combination, being praised by legends without being changed by that praise, is rare. And it's exactly the quality that turns talented young players into the ones who actually make it all the way to the top. Today, in Washington, against a former top 5 player who has already beaten her once, we find out how real that prediction is going to become. Because words from legends are just words, until they're followed by results. And Alex Eala is about to have her first chance, on hard courts, to start proving Nishikori and Osaka right. If you want to follow this entire hard court swing, from Washington through Toronto, Cincinnati, and all the way to the US Open, make sure you're subscribed, because this is the stretch that could define her entire year. Now I want to hear from you. Do you believe Kei Nishikori's prediction? Is Alex Eala really on her way to the top 10? Drop your prediction for today's match in the comments. Because the legends have already said what they believe. Now it's Alex Eala's turn to answer them, one match at a time.